What is something you got rid of years ago that you wish you kept? Gained weight. Threw out a bunch of too small clothes. Lost the weight again. Had to buy all the small clothes again. My childhood Woody and Buzz Lightyear figures sad face. They were almost exactly like how they were in the movie and everything. Except, obviously, they didn't come to life. Lol. I've never been able to find any just like them again. I got rid of them many years ago and I super regret it to this day. My old diaries. Was too scared my parents would go through my room and discover it when I was away at camp. So much regret. Because it would have been so interesting to look back and read about how younger me thought and viewed life. And the things that I deemed important to me back then. Some of my old Polaroids. It would be nice to look back on. I could have scanned them or something at least. The first girl I ever fell in love with wrote me a book. An entire book. It was about her early childhood and all this stuff she went through. We broke up because I left high school before she did. And we grew apart. We eventually became friends again. And she asked me for it back years later when she was going through therapy and wanted to see what she'd written when she was younger. I lied and said I lost it. I still feel guilty that I let my emotions get the better of me. I saw a Gilmore Girls episode once where the mom has a box for stuff her daughter wants to throw away. But she makes her wait a year before really doing it. I should have had that box. My 1993 and 1994 Magic the Gathering cards. An original copy of Little Mermaid on VHS that had the penis on the castle. My '87 Toyota Supra. The oil pump failed and the engine blew up. It would make for a great project car or engine swap candidate now. My old hard drive that I accidentally wiped the entire partition that had like 10+ years of my artwork saved on it. I sold a beautiful 12-string guitar. Traded it in. Didn't even get my money's worth out of it. Got an amazing Takamine 6-string out of it. But I wish I had just saved some more money and kept the 12-string as well. My friends from high school. I've been repurchasing a lot of old DoJnD books. My collection would be much better if I hadn't parted with so many when I was younger. I have an old Motorola mobile phone that I must have thrown out the charger etc. for ages ago. It has a video of my younger brother throwing the funniest temper tantrum while trying to put his already tied shoes on and refusing to stop and untie the laces first. I swear one day I will embarrass the hell out of him with the video, and for that reason. I still have the phone at home just in case one day I manage to boot it up again. One day. I was given a $45,000 trust fund when I turned 18. My mother passed away when I was 4 and her assets were sold. With funds being divided between my siblings and I in a locked GIC until we were 18. I spent it in 1 year on booze and gifts for boyfriends, have never forgiven myself. My N64. Got it for Christmas in '96. Gave it to family friends' kids who will most likely never appreciate it for how great it truly was. I once dug a fossilized turtle shell out of a creek bed near my house when I was a teenager. I wish I still had it. I had a binder nearly full of all the Charizard cards I traded for, bought, opened, as a kid. I would normally offer kids a ton of cards for one Charizard, and now I realize I likely threw away so much money. I did it in middle school because I wanted to be cool, and figured I shouldn't have them anymore. My Bitcoin. As a kid, me and my brother heard about Bitcoin and how you can mine Bitcoin and make it into real-life money. We mined a couple coins, but since we were kids and suddenly realized we would have to do it for hours to get anything of value, we stopped. Somewhere out there is a Bitcoin wallet with about 1 to 5 Bitcoin, and honestly that would help solve every problem in my life right now. Any voicemail of my parents. My old Minecraft worlds. When I was in my mid-20s I was unemployed and broke, and my laptop broke. which was my only way to look for a new job, so I had to get a new one. To do so I had to sell my entire video game collection. What would now probably be a good $2K worth of game and game consoles for only $400. Not that I really cared about the monetary value of them. I just wish I still had all of them to play. Love letters from my ex-husband. Not because I'm still in love with him, but because I think my daughter would enjoy reading them. He was military, so we were separate a lot. So I had tons of letters and cards between us over the years. A 78 Datsun 280Z and a 69 Mustang GT. My Bitcoin. Back when it first came out I got $20 of it and used it to buy a pizza for the novelty. If I would have kept it I'd be able to pay off my student loans and then some. Everything I owned before my divorce. My ex pleaded with me to let him keep the household items so when his kids visited on the weekends his house wouldn't be bare. I agreed on the terms. He would get his own stuff soon and I would get my stuff back. Within months he married Satan. Anything that would have meant something to me she put out in their garage and sold or threw away. He divorced her, but they stay married for 6 years and she ruined everyone's life. Guitar my late mother bought me. Sold it in my 20s because I never played it and it made me sad to have it in a closet. Now in my 40s. And I would love to pick it up again. Posted this in another thread a long time ago. But the sad part is I know exactly where it is. It changed hands a few times and a local fellow owns it. He loves it and doesn't want to sell it back to me, sad face. My large stack of weekly world news. Bought them one by one when I was a youngin'. Loved when Dear Dottie called everyone pinhead and Ed Anger whined about bleeding heart liberals in their columns. My stack was almost as tall as I was. They recycled a lot of their crazy stories. Would love to go through them now. Fireball Island. That game is worth a ton now. They even did a Kickstarter remake, but it's not the same. A house in the city of Chicago. In a plain working-class neighborhood. On Zillow I see prices around it in the $750,000 range. SMDH. I think my granddad paid something like $5,000 for it in the 1930s. My mom bought me Thriller on picture disc vinyl and I made her take it back and get me the tape so I could listen to it in my Walkman because I was a stupid fucking 10-year-old kid, damn it. When I was in the 5th grade, my mom started to raise a huge stink about the state of my bedroom. As a kid, through a combination of generous aunts and uncles, good grades, and plain old begging, I'd amassed a collection of stuff. SNES and Genesis games, yes. My SNES and Genesis ran fine. Batman, the animated series, X-Men, and Spider-Man, the animator series action figures, Lego sets, Micro Machines, Mighty Max playsets, G.I. Joes, gaming magazines, and posters. She wanted me to get rid of all that stuff because I was in the 5th grade now and should be more grown up. I actively resisted. And then I made the mistake of going out of town. I went on an out-of-town camping trip with some cousins for a weekend. I came back. And my room was basically empty. Just clothes and books and bare walls and empty shelves. Mom said she had my room cleaned. And to this day, I'm 31 now. I still harbor a deep resentment over that.